aad ayuu u mahadsan yahay xildhibaan yuusuf xasan cabdi oo kelmad aad u qurxan ka jeediyo goobta marka koowaad waxaa rabaa inaan mahadnaqo bahda HIIGSI ee maanta nagala joogaan asaasihii mid ka mid ah asaasihii ahna madaxa HIIGSI qadar maxamuud xareed waxaa kaloo rabaa inaan u mahadnaqo cabdimaalik anwar oo ka mid ah asaasiyaashii asna hadda madaxa miidiyaha guud ahaan waa ku mahadsantihiin ajiibka soo ajiibteen codsigiina ila soo diray waxaa rabaa inaan idinkugu mahadnaqo si guud waxaa rabaa si gaar ahaan inaan u mahadnaqo HIIGSI bahda HIIGSI walaashay Hodan Naleeye xildhibaan yuusuf iyo Mohamed cali oo ah senior journalist cabdirasaaq socoto oo ka mid ah bahda saxaafadda Soomaaliyeed haddana RTN joogo axmed xasan cumar oo ka mid ah ka socdo ururka xogayaha ururka shaqaalaha iyo cabdiqaadir cabdi oo ka socdo ururka shaqaalaha waxaa kaloo rabaa inaan u mahadnaqo gudoomiyaha ururka midowga ardayda Soomaaliyeed dalka Kenya Xuseen Baaruud Kahnuug oo run ahaantii kaalin la taaban karo ka wado Kamakunji iyo gaar ahaan Isli isku keenka iyo ka shaqeynta midowga ardayda Soomaaliyeed waxaa kaloo rabaa inaan u mahadnaqo dhammaan dadkii ka tagay ugumaanan tagin ee ilowshawa waxaa rabaa intaanan barnaamijka u gudbin dad badan oo naga tirsan waxay ku wareersan yihiin Hodan Naleeye ahayd dad badan way ka dharagsan yihiin dadka ka dharagsan waa dadka integration TV la socdo dadka ka dharagsaneen madax HIIGSI maanta uga dharki doonaan hadal badan haan ma bulsho Hodan Naleeye waa gabar Soomaaliyeed ah asaasihii CEO integration TV waa wariye waxay ku kortay qurbaha gaar ahaan dalka Canada waxbarashada Hodan Naleeye waa heer jaamacadeed kuliyadda artiska BA communication jaamacadda Windsor ee ka sameysay waxay kaloo sameysay heer sare oo wariinimo Hodan waxay ku caan baxday warbixinaha iyo sheekooyinka wanaagsan ee ummadda baraha bulshada kula wadaagto waxay kaloo astaan u tahay jiilka cusub ee jecel inay ka muuqdaan una shaqeeyaan dalkooda dadka iyo dalkooda Hodan Naleeye waxay leedahay TV-ga Integration TV oo followerskiisa YouTube-ka yihiin 1 milyan aad iyo aad ay u mahadsantihiin Hodan Naleeye mar labaad waa mahadsan tahay waxaa aaminsanahay bahda Kamakunji iyo gaar ahaan xaafadda Isli maanta inay si fiican kaaga faa'iideysan doonaan barnaamijkii qaybtiisii ugu muhiimsanayd gudaha u gali doonaa dad ka taga hadee jiraan xaygaraal noqdaan in la isku tanaasulana waa muhiim waxaan rabaa inaan markaan soo dhaweeyo barnaamijku wuxuu lahaa doonaa qayb su'aalaha oo Hodan su'aalo lagu weydiin doono su'aasha nooca tahay muhiim ah inay topic qaybsan tahay ama muhiim waxaan rabaa inaan soo dhaweeyo qadar maxamuud xareed oo barnaamijku noo daadihi doono iyo Hodan Naleeye barnaamijka banalka toos u gali doona soo dhawaada
the power of media engaging community. Inta waxay dowladda waxaan rabaa waxay u mahadceliyo dadka sharafta leh ee halkan isugu yimid ee kasoo qaybgalay munaasabadda HIIGSI ay idin martigelinayso oo MD-geena Kamakunji ugu horeeya waa mahadsantihiin intaas kadib waxaan u mahadcelinayaa Hodan Naleeye thank you sister Hodan Naleeye for coming today it's a great honor for HIIGSI to have you here today. So without losing time, let's start the topic. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Normally I'm used to doing motivational speeches. I hardly talk about the value of the work we do in media as Somalis around the world. But today it's such an honor to be here to support young people who want to bring change to their communities. And one of the reasons that I started the platform is for that reason. So I want to thank you guys so much for taking the initiative, for being proactive, and for seeing the need in your community. Let's give a round of applause to these young men and women who are doing amazing work. I always tell everyone it's easy to think that something can be done, but to actually do it is the hardest part. So always support people in your communities who are actually doing the work. You know, Somali da hadal badan nahay, but hol badan ma sameyno. Sah maha? So, alhamdulillah, I just want to say a few words. My first time in Africa, it's very strange to talk about this because I have been, I would say, qurba too long. Over 30 years, my family has been living in the West. I left Somalia as practically a 6-year-old. And my first time I ever came back to Africa was in Kenya in 2011. So it wasn't even Somalia my first time, but it's Kenya actually. And part of the reason I came back was I was working a corporate job, living a really amazing life, enjoying, you know, that 9-to-5 corporate life where you're just making money, you're after the rat race, you're in the corporate world. And I had met one of my cousins called me and she said, hey, I'm having a wedding. Could you pick up somebody for me from the airport? And I had no idea who she was talking about. So I picked up this woman from the airport who was a very famous Somali singer. Of course, I was like, I didn't know any Somali singers. And her name was Sada Ali Warsame. And it was because of that one day of meeting someone who can change your life that I'm able to do this work today. That woman, the 5 minutes that I picked her up from the airport, taught me more about my heritage and said to me, how could you not even know anything about Somalia, you know? And she told me about her history, how she was a famous singer, all the political stuff she was involved in. And it made me start thinking, like, what part of life did we miss as Somalis in the West? You know, we didn't get any storytelling about our heritage. We didn't know the history behind why our country is the way it is today. So I wanted to start that gift for generations of children, including my own kids, so that one day they can look at themselves and be proud that they're Somali. And it doesn't matter what country in the world they're in. So that's why we're here today, and we came to Dadaab together, me and Sada Ali. And it was that moment I realized how much media is needed in our community. I remember begging one of the TV stations here to support us and come and give advocacy to the thousands of Somalis that were dying from hunger. And this TV station said to me, you have to give us $1,000. And that day I realized, I said, this is so unethical. Your people are dying and you don't want to cover the news. I mean, don't you want people to help your people? And that's when I said to myself, maybe that's where I could be of use in this world. So I started just changing my life and went back to school, started building this platform a few years later. And this is where we are today. How can we change the way media is in our society? How can we bring real, important programming that is needed by everyone in our community? Whether it's our language, whether it's, you know, what is going on in Somalia, all the stories that we are never told about our people who are living and surviving and thriving, and sometimes their stories are never told. So this is why we're here today, and I hope that you know, all of you guys are here today because you're here for a reason. And that reason could be you have some plans in your life to make a change for someone. You have a desire to be better. You have a desire to contribute and leave a legacy. How hard is it these days for people to think like that? Very difficult. It's very few people in the world, but yet alone Somali society, who will go above and beyond and be greater than just existing. So I want you guys today to feel like you can be greater than anything that's been told about who we are, who we're gonna be, and what's written for us. And I'm not talking about you making $1 million. I'm talking about you leaving a name for your children, for your society, and for your people. So I hope that you join us on that journey today and hope that we have a good discussion. And I welcome all of you who are engaged and ready for change. Who is ready for change in this room? Let me hear you say yes. Yes. I don't think that's change makers. Come on. Yes. Let me hear you say yes. Yes. Stand up and tell the world right now you guys are ready for change in East Lee. Do you like the programming coming out of East Lee? No, right? Do you believe in change that you can do today for your community? Yes. Let me hear you say louder. Yes. Do you want change? Yes. Do you want change? Yes. I'm not hearing this side of the room. Come on, ladies. So Sordawada. Okay. Do you want change? Yes. Let me hear you say yes. Yes. How could a woman with 2 children have more voice than all of you guys? Let's go. One more time. Are you ready for change? Yes. That's more like it. Let's start.
Thank you, Sister Hodan Naleeye, for this more explanation. We would like to, or some of our guests would like to get more information about the meaning of Nagis Kaliga. Can you explain? Let her explain.
Niman's Kaliga? Okay.
What do you mean by Nagis Kaliga? Give us more explanation.
So I think I was mentioning on the BBC the other day, people think it's like a sexist term to call a Somali woman nag. But really, to be honest with you, for me, it was a motivational term. And I hope it's okay with you guys that I speak English today, because half you guys speak Swahili and half speak Somali, so I'm just going to use English, okay? Is that okay? Yes? Okay. So a lot of times when women, or even like young people, when you have a desire to do better in your life, there's times that you're always challenged. You know, you're going to be challenged in terms of how you achieve your goals. Like if you decide, you know, I'm going to go back to school, like what does that process look like? Do you have to like do certain things? So when the times got hard and tough for me as a single parent with 2 children, I would wake up in the morning like, you know, so that's where it started for me. It was really a self-motivational term that helped me continue my dreams. You know, the path to achieve your dreams is very difficult. And there's going to be so many haters, there's going to be dream killers, there's going to be people that discourage you. You know, they don't understand the work you do. So a lot of times you have to go back to yourself and inspire yourself every day, because no one understands your goals sometimes. Do you agree with that? A lot of times our community, they don't understand dreams, because a lot of them have been what I call right? So it's like when you're a young person and you come to someone and you say, I have a dream to do this, and they're like, what? Like Somali yes. So that's the way our culture is. It comes from a perspective of negativity. So I use that word to motivate myself.
Thank you.
Next,
yeah, thank you. I wish also their main inshallah.
hadda waxaan u badnay dad iska dhiga. Dad Somali baan nahay, waa inaan dad soo baxnaa.
Thank you. So there are a lot of stereotypes in media. When we are talking about the media or how they do the stereotypes, there are 2 types of stereotypes: negative and positive stereotypes. So how do the negative stereotypes feed the media? For example, in our country, Somalia, how do the negative stereotypes feed the media?
Well, the first thing is that, first of all, I would like to remind everyone, Somalia is not just one city, because a lot of times the news that we always hear about our country is Mogadishu. And the narrative that has been given to Somalia, a lot of it has to do with the international media continuously talking about the same theme, which is the violence, which is, you know, the problems, the hunger. But what I learned traveling throughout the country is that people are living normal lives. I mean, to be honest with you, I myself, who grew up in the West, was so surprised the quality of life some of our communities live. I mean, we're some of the happiest people in Africa. Did you guys know that? And some of the media stereotypes that continue to plague our community is not the only story. I mean, we need to have other stories that tell who we are, our culture, the civilizations we come from. I mean, I'm still surprised that we had kings and queens in our country. I mean, a lot of the history died with the Civil War. So the narratives that are out there about Somalis are not necessarily what's positive. So it's up to us as Somalis to start telling those stories, because if we don't, we will be at the mercy of international media who has no desire to make sure you get out of poverty. I think we're going to have a question from the audience after, inshallah, so you guys will have a chance to interact with us. I think our moderator is coming back, so should I keep talking? We're live on Facebook.
Question?
Either Somali or English.
Of Somali, it's okay. I'm going
Somali,
to
okay,
ha, it's okay.
Mahadsan.
Ha, okay.
Hodan Naleeye markii ugu horeysay oo aan arko waxaan ka arkay Facebook waxaa joogtay baa umalaynayaa Somaliland meelahaas baadiye cidlaa baad dadka u tegaysay abaaraysan xoolihii ay ka dhammaadeen oo adduunka aad tusaysay
Sax.
marka waan kaaga mahadcelinayaa taas ummadda Soomaaliyeed dhammaan way kaaga mahadcelinaysaa miidiyaha marka la yiraahdo iyo saameynta ay ku leedahay dadka waxaa jira baryahan waxaa la yidhaahdaa dadka boqolkiiba 70 in ka badan waxay isticmaalaan social media waxa la yidhaahdaa TV-yaashii raadiyihii iyo waxyaabihii noocaas iyo journaalkii iyo website-yadii waa automated basin badan waa laga sii guurayaa marka dadka social media isticmaalaya waxay u isticmaalaan sababa ayaga u khaas ah ama sababo guud ay ka tirsan yihiin miidiyaha laftirkooda hataa waxaa loo isticmaalaa sababo guud ay ka tirsan yihiin iyo sababo qofka asaga u khaas ah media ayadana dhexdhexaada waa jirtaa marka sidee loo saameyn ugu yeelan kartaa miidiyahaas dadka khaaska ay leeyihiin oo dadka ay ka dhaadhicinayaan waxa ayaga ay rabaan mahadsan.
So the question is, you want to know how social media is changing the media now? Yes? Okay, so we are living in the biggest, fastest growing time of digital media. And I think as Somalis, we are very active online. Would you agree? We are some of the most active communities in terms of social media. But do we use it proactively in the correct way? Sometimes probably not. There's people that are making millions of dollars being on the internet doing business, but yet we are in chat rooms chatting and arguing about which politician is doing what today. Would you agree with that? So our young people with social media have to figure out how to use it properly and proactively, and how to use it for social activism. The great thing about my platform that we built is very simple. Like, I didn't have a TV antenna. I started on TV in Canada. Then I realized the market was not really, just Canada alone. Somalis in the diaspora are everywhere. Somalis want to connect. Somalis want to know who they are. So when we went on YouTube and we have over 5 million views and almost 50,000 subscribers, that's when I realized, my God, like, our television is not necessarily the platform to be on anymore. Everybody has a mobile phone. And, when I go to Somalia and I see an old man with his gel, and he's like talking on the cell phone and he's scrolling through my YouTube channel, I'm just like, who needs television? So digital media now is impacting so much our community, and we have an opportunity actually to lift a generation of young people out of poverty if we are able to create jobs in the digital world. So Somalis are, mashallah, some of the smartest, fastest learners, and if we can utilize those tools now to take it to the next notch, is how do we use a digital age to earn income, to benefit ourselves, and to change our communities? And that's what the next step is. TV is dead, right? Yes.
Thank you. Can you tell us how you started Integration TV?
Integration TV started on Canadian television to tell Somali Canadian stories and basically share success stories of Somalis that are doing well. And then it expanded on to YouTube, and that's where we kind of went to Sweden, we went to London, then I started going back the journey of Africa, and that's when I realized more Somalis are actually interested about their heritage than they are just about the diaspora life. So that's how we kind of started the journey.
How can we use the power of media to influence and change our community into the better way?
So how many of you guys seen, like, you are very active in Eastleigh, would you agree? Yes? How many of you guys are happy with the stories that come out of your community? Can I get a hand up? What stories do you hear about Eastleigh? Are you guys happy with what you hear about Eastleigh in the international media? No? Yes?
Yeah, we have.
You have good stories, you have positive stories. What stories are coming out of Eastleigh that is like good or positive? No, Eastleigh, I'm talking about Eastleigh. So the question was, how do you use media to change your community? Very simple. We need young people in each community who are active on social media to start engaging and telling stories from their community. I'll be frankly honest with you. When I came to Eastleigh, since I've been here, I haven't heard too many positive stories about the community. A lot of it has been investigations, things that are going on. But then I'm thinking, look at all these young people here tonight. There must be some successful young tech entrepreneurs. There must be some people who are building things, who are innovating, who are changing lives here. Would you agree? So where are those stories? Now it's up to you to tell those stories. And that's how media is being utilized across the world, is that young people are taking their cell phones and sharing their narrative. I would love to see a positive post every day about Eastleigh and what's happening here. Because the amount of money that comes in this community and the entrepreneurship that it has built should be told around the world. I was actually in Westlands the other night where I was speaking at another event I was attending. And it was a tech event where they're launching a mentorship app for young people that are going to go to university when they graduate. They're looking for jobs in tech. And I said to the woman, have you heard of Eastleigh? And she was like, no. She came from South Africa. She's never heard of Eastleigh. And she's launching this entrepreneurship platform to help young Africans, get jobs and learn training. And then I'm like, how come you haven't heard of the top entrepreneurship hub in East Africa, Eastleigh? And she's just like, because nobody's telling our story. So if we want opportunities in this community, if we want change in this community for young people, employment, we have to start engaging on the internet and start telling what Eastleigh is. I challenge you every day to post something positive about your community. I challenge you today.
Thank you, Hodan. Qofku su'aashu lagu weydiin karaa Hodan isagoo ku weydiin kara labada luqadood midda Ingiriiska iyo midda Soomaaliga. Weliba Soomaaliga aad u fahmi karnaa.
Thanks. Akassalam, welcome. One of my Instagram followers, so Daawo.
My question is, first time I would like to thank you because you personally changed my life and made me to go for journalism. And obviously I was about to collapse when I was done with high school. You're probably the person who inspired me, thank you. And my question is, you as Hodan Naleeye, who inspires a lot of people through media, welcome ideas that can change the life of Somalis through media. And my second question is, what is the worst experience you have ever come across in your life as a journalist, and how has that experience changed your life?
The worst experience I came across as a journalist? I haven't even told this story to anyone, but I will tell you guys tonight. The worst experience that I came across actually happened during the drought in Somalia. I'm still traumatized by it sometimes to even talk about it, because I never wanted to share this story with a lot of people. But we were delivering almost $230,000 of food aid to nomads that had no way of getting aid during the March 2017 Abada had died. And there were some politicians that wanted to arrest me. And really, it broke me down morally, because what I realized was that as a society in Somalia, or Somaliland, or Puntland, or Khartoum, we are so broken politically that we can't see majority of our people are poor and that they need everyday assistance. The average Somali family survives on probably what your t-shirt that you're wearing today cost. Think about that. So what I realized was that, the work that we're doing at Integration TV is even more valuable, because when politics has taken over a society's mentality, that means the society cannot progress. So we, and I mean you guys also, who are the young leaders of the future, need to start thinking, how do we stop this sick mentality in our society that politics determines development, determines progress, determines change. Because the average Somali family and child doesn't even have access to education. If we can't even educate the kids who are under 5 years old, how can we expect to have a generation 20 years from now that's productive in the world? What we plant today is going to be what we see 20 years from now. You know, and some of us may not live long enough to see the things that we do. So, you know, that is the worst experience that I came across. And what I realized was that how important your network is in life and how important it is that you stay above the politics of society and help the people who need it with the work that you do.
Thank you very much. I take this opportunity first to congratulate the HIIGSI Institute for making this tremendous achievement, especially this forum, and also wish to congratulate for our sister Hodan for being here with us today in this link, and our area ED also another honorable guest in the occasion. After that, I would like to ask a few questions, just one actually to summarize the statement. You have been in the media for quite a long period of time, and I hope you have a wide range of experience in the media field. My question is, how can we use the media, especially the youth population, to rebuild the nation, and what other approaches and techniques we can deploy actually to reach the target population and achieve the desirable result? Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So we're talking about Somalia, rebuilding the nation? Yes. From my own experience, I don't know how many of you guys have actually been to Somalia here? Have gone back? Wow, very interesting. So my hand is the only one up in the room? Wow. So, yes? Yes, some? Okay, so maybe like 10 of us in the room. So that just shows you how powerful media can be. When we started Integration TV, we had, the first time I did a show from Mogadishu, the next summer, they had the largest return of diaspora coming back into the country. So if you go throughout Somalia and you watch the television on there, to be honest with you, to me, it's very sad, because television and media is like food. What you consume is who you become. And the power of media is so powerful in how it can affect a culture, affect a society, that if we don't start changing how media is conducted in Somalia, it's going to be hard to change the people's mentality. I mean, when I went to a regular cafe, let's say it was a bur'o, and you sit down to watch the TV, it's 24 hours. Like, the audio is bad, number one, in Somali TV. Well, always, when you watch the television. You guys get the horn, you get cables on your TVs, right, from Somalia? How many of you actually watch the news from Somalia? Anybody watch the actual news? Probably not, right? But the average citizen in Somalia is watching that every day. And I didn't see any quality programming, anything that helps them grow their mind. I didn't see anything that contributes to showing them how beautiful their country is, connecting them culturally. What I saw was a lot of qalo, buq, siyasin, kahalea, 24 hours a day on Somali television. So if we're going to make an impact in Somali society, we have to start with the media. And that comes from creating content that actually, number one, helps a lot of the women in our country, because you know, it's a tragedy to this day that 1 in 10 Somali women are still dying from childbirth, giving childbirth. I mean, it's just, to me, it's unbelievable. You know, the education level that we need to share about the human body with women, about the process of giving birth. There's so much opportunities in educational programs, and we're not doing that. And if we're going to change the society from, you know, being nomads to an educated nomads, I think we have to start with media, because that's the only thing that's connecting people, and social media also, on the phones.
Thank you. I would say, like, one question: how is the journey of entrepreneurship in the scope of big media companies?
How is entrepreneurship affecting media?
In the scope of the big companies.
Okay, so there's obviously all over the world, there's a lot of media companies that are controlling what messages that we see, whether it's CNN, whether it's Fox News, whether it's KTN here or Citizen TV. So you are constantly bombarded by large media corporations all over the world. The only opportunity we have to change media now is to become entrepreneurs in our field. Anybody can pick up a cell phone today and create content from their own living room, from their own community. So for us to start sharing those stories, generating revenues from that, that is how we become citizen journalists, I call it. So I think entrepreneurship is the way to go in media. Everybody that has built something great in this world started with nothing, whether it's Steve Jobs, whether it's Ted, what was the name, the guy who owns CNN? I forgot his name. But anyways, all those people started from nothing. So what makes you think that you can't do the same? You know, everybody likes to have an idea in the Somali community and they think, oh, it's my idea, but nothing is new under the sun. I want young people to start 100 integration TVs because guess what? That means you're going to be telling stories from your communities. When I started positive Somali storytelling 5 years ago, I didn't think it would have this ripple effect that now young people from Mogadishu are constantly telling positive stories about their community. Young people from Hargeisa, the same thing. Young people from Las Anod. And Las Anod, where I was born, has actually a really interesting story. After we did our TV special, and I showed it, have you guys seen that when I went to the hospital I was born in? And how the bed is like still there? And it's so old and there was no like new development? Well, I was so happy that when I talked to the city like 2 years later, they told me $3.5 million had come in to rebuild that hospital. And that is change, guys. When you do stories about your community, you can impact the needs. What do young people in East Lead need today? What do you guys need in your community? And how are you telling that story to make that happen? Do the girls need a center where they can learn digital skills? How many of you guys are learning any web development here? We have Idrissa, Ibadah Academy here. I mean, amazing young man who's doing great things in tech. You know, think about the future of East Lead. What does it look like and how can you bring those programs here? Don't always think it's not with me. Start with yourself. And the change starts with you.
Thank you. Abdulsaq from RTN.
I haven't. Actually, it's my first time seeing.
Thank you.
I've been watching long for your programs
Inshallah.
English for my first language.
Somali is okay.
I'll try to say something else. My question is, I'm supposed to say this in the beginning of questions, which I want. Firstly, maybe young Somali people, they need to understand the meaning of power of media. First, does media got power? How we can use that power? And individual, what is the responsibility to use the power of media? And we experience working with Somali people. What does that mean to you? Media, power of media, and how can we use, and what's the responsibility for individuals to use power?
Come a long way, when, especially in the diaspora, and especially in Africa right now. I'll have to be honest with you, I think the biggest change for the Somali community is going to come from young people in the Horn of Africa. I see how hungry and driven and motivated the young people are in Africa to do big things. And I'm hoping that, you know, the educated diaspora come back to Somalia to help, but also the young people start innovating and sharing, you know, their own stories and narratives. The biggest change I've seen in the Somali community is that we are ready now to address our pain, whereas before we were so scared to talk about things that were very important in our culture and our society. You know, I remember there was a time it was hard for me to interview people about, you know, if their child had autism and they wanted to share that story. It was difficult for them to say, oh, now we're understanding that when somebody shares their own personal story, it actually changes that person watching more than anybody else telling that story. So personal storytelling is something that needs to grow in our community. We need to stop shaming women, men, people who have different stories of life. I mean, when I brought my dad on to come and talk about his Somali story, people thought I was very strange. But to me, it was like, that's my dad's story. That is his personal journey of his life in Somalia. If he wants to share that and is comfortable with it, what is wrong with that? We are a society that shames people for honesty. And you know, we need to stop that. We need to say everybody is entitled to their space, to their story, and that story could change someone's life.
Hodan, I follow you from Instagram. Sophia Somali. Sophia, yes. Yeah, I see. Mashallah. I have a question for you today. My question is, I want to see you.
Yes.
Yes, I see you now.
So how is that?
I love it. She's taking confidence, standing up. That's what we need right here. Give her a hand of applause. Yes. I want to see our young ladies feel empowered to tell and ask. Go ahead.
Right? My question is, you are a young lady, empowering a lot of people. What do you have for us as a women? Women empowerment. What do you created for us as a women? Do you have a program for us as a young Somali women? Do you empower? Do you educate? Do you do a change? Because in Somalia, I have been Somalia recently, and what I saw there is, in a way, it's good. In a way, it's good. It's developing. There's a lot of change. But in another way, Somali women, we are behind. And in terms of education, in terms of connection, we are not connected. So I want you, as a leader, to connect Somali ladies, to empower, whether you are from HIIGSI, from Galka, from Abuja, from wherever you are, from Mogadishu, from Tiktiga, you are a Somali lady. From Garissa, so we have to connect it. We have to move and become. We have to. I will share with you a small experience. I have a friend. She's Siju. She's a Somalian.
And she's still Somali though? Why do we have to call her?
She is a Somali Kenyan, but she is somebody who grew up in Somalia, in Magaalada, Kenya. So she has a friend. One day she invited me. She told me, Sophia, can you go with me? I have a meeting with my friend. And I was like, why do you want me? Say, let's go. And then we went. And then what I saw was really moved me, because I saw Kenyan ladies, over 100,000. I mean 100 ladies. They made a schedule. Every month, every end month, they meet. They have something called chama. You understand?
Like Shah and Sheko?
No! No, it's like Ayuto. But it's another way. They connect, you know. They share their ideas, business ideas, entrepreneurship. They share personal ideas. They share, they encourage each other. You understand? So I was so sad. Like I feel bad. I feel bad because my community, we don't do that.
Okay, so Sophia, I'm going to challenge you right now.
So my question is, what do you have for us?
Okay, somebody's seeing, oh, that we could do something better. So that moment you had that gut feeling was the moment to go home, write it in your notepad. How are you going to bring together 10 ladies so that you can grow to 100 ladies and do that same thing in your area?
But still, I will need women's support, right?
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
But start small and dream big, right? You know, the ownership is not always about other people. It's about us taking ownership. Start with your 5 friends. How can I change, you know, myself and my 5 friends to learn these skills? You know, when I started my journey, it wasn't about, you know, me changing Somali women. It was just about me following my dreams and learning the skills and learning what it takes to become an entrepreneur, what it takes to grow as a person. You know, subhanAllah, like I've done there's some lectures that I do at my local masjid in Toronto that I don't even tell people about because, you know, when I go in there and I see the 20 women that show up on Sundays, you know, and they're so eager to learn, it makes me so sad that we as women in our communities can't even initiate how to be positive amongst each other. We are so busy tearing down a woman who wants to do something good that we never say, how can I take part in that good? So today, guys, all the people sitting at the table with Sophia, get together with her, figure out how you can bring more women together in your community and start sharing positive things. That's all it takes. It doesn't take Hodan Naleeye to help you write an instruction manual. It doesn't.
Thank you. waxaan codsan lahaa in la soo koobo qofku markuu microphone qabsado inuu go to the point waxaan siinayaa MD-geena si isagana su-aashiisa uu nagu kontributeeyo.
Shukran. Since the communication has now shifted to in English, maybe first of all let me say mine is more a comment rather than a question, because I was a journalist myself.
Yes.
I was a broadcaster here at the age of 17. I used to have a teenager program at weekends.
MashaAllah.
Then I moved on to work for the BBC in London for many years before doing other things. But what I wanted to share is the fact that in those days journalism was a very difficult job. It was dominated by the big guys. There was a monopoly, and it was very difficult for an ordinary citizen to get in.
Yes.
I think your experience, which you have shared with us and you can share more with us, is now with digital media, the world has changed.
Yes.
Citizen journalism is now big. And people, these young people here, can create their own mediums and their own ways of communicating.
Yes.
So, and you have also touched on the possibilities that are there. I want to tell you that in fact there are opportunities for young people to train. For example, here in about 200 meters from here, we are opening the California Digital Center.
Incredible.
Which young people can train. Secondly, there's 3 programs, government programs, that come under my constituency. The Youth Empowerment Fund, Enterprise Fund, the Women Enterprise Fund, and the WESO Fund. There are 3 funds
Incredible.
that give assistance to young people to develop their own projects, their own ideas.
Incredible.
Unfortunately, in the Kamkunji, which consists of 5 wards, the Somalis are the least benefit. They don't come for those projects. So I urge you young people, if you are from Kamkunji, come and benefit from those. You can set up your own digital network.
Yes.
You can set up your own little business. Whatever fancy you have, you can come
Incredible.
and benefit from that. And I myself, being a media person, and also a digital person, I am ready to help you and to guide you if you want to know where to go.
Wow.
But the reason, let me tell you the reason why I gave up journalism. I went to Mogadishu. I was a senior journalist. I went to Mogadishu in 1992. And that was when our motherland, as it were, was collapsing or had collapsed. And I saw the famine in the central regions. and I saw the chaos and the destruction of Mogadishu. As a journalist working for the BBC then, I was not able to articulate that. The agenda of the BBC, the agenda of the big guys, CNN, is not our agenda. They have a different agenda. They wanted to focus on the negativity. And I could not continue reporting as a journalist. I went to do something else. And the second time when I left and I went to work for the UN Refugee Agency to do something positive. The next time when I came back to Nairobi, I was walking here in the streets of Eastleigh. I was a highly paid UN official. I saw how messy Eastleigh was. The roads were muddy, the infrastructure had collapsed, and people had no representation. Young people were being picked up by the police here like goats. And that was the day when I decided I was not going to be a UN official. I was going to resign. I was going to stand as a member of parliament here so that I can be part of the solution. But of course, we can all be part of the solution if we focus on the problems. And I want to tell you, those people who are saying, empower us. Nobody can empower you. Get ready, get organized, and once you get organized, you will have the power to change things.
Can we get our legs, please stand up?
No, we have this story. How many young people heard your story before? Probably not many. But your one story you've empowered with those young people. Let's give a round of applause to the MP, guys. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, MP, for that. Storytelling starts as a ripple effect, you know. When one person shares their pain and how it became success for them, it inspires other people's pain to come out. I'm committing, while I'm here in Nairobi filming, anyone who wants to learn how to set up their own YouTube channel, I am more than willing to volunteer to help you guys do that in this community. We are teaching on YouTube the other day on a webinar I did with a company called She Leads Africa. They're based out of Nigeria. And we did a webinar for women and how to become their own narrative storytellers in their communities. And that one video and the amount of people that are watching live across Africa, and I'm not just talking about the Horn of Africa, I'm talking about Zimbabwe, all these different countries, women who are desiring to learn, how do I become the next digital storyteller to empower African stories? And you guys here, if you guys want to set up something, let's do it for Eastleigh. Let's share more stories about Eastleigh and who the young people that are living in the biggest, I would say, biggest entrepreneurship hub of Africa.
Good evening, the Honorable MB and the guests and the moderator. I warmly greet all of you.
MashaAllah.
With all due respect and in Somali language, my question.
MashaAllah, yes,
So
go ahead.
So do and waxaan rabaa hal su'aal inaan weydiiyo those who are representing media oo aan qaarkood halkan uga jeedo iyo Hodan Naleeye oo aan maanta meeshan ku haysana caawa oo matalaysa TV-gan integration iyo qof ah dadka la hadasha. Runtii waxaa jirta media hadda la isticmaalo wuxuu yahay social media. Social media marka dadka inta badan waxay u isticmaalaan laba si. Dadna waa ku faa'iideen oo dadka ay ku faa'iideeyaan. Dadna waxa waaye dadka ay waxa waaye qabiil haday tahay, ay haday tahay, wala kala haday tahay. Waxaan rabaa inaan ogaado oo aan adiga ama dadka kale xogtan haya ka ogaado sirta ka dambaysa, the secret ee sirta ka dambaysa maxay successful u yihiin dadka inta badan markii social media soo gala followers badan, viewers badan u haystaan dadka qabiilada caaya ama dadka kale to individuals ka aan all of us wada naqaano maxay aad successful u yihiin media. Salaamani haddaan rabin wax fiican sheego media soo galo dadyo kala jira oo media caan ka ah oo haysta oo monopoly ahaan u haysta meesha fadhiya ayaga successful waay. Dadkeena ma xumaanta jecel ani waxaan waa secret
yes.
Why ay successful u yihiin dadkeena xumaanta sheega adiga iyo dad kale kula mid oo khayrka iyo wanaagga iyo dadka dhiirigeliyana ay u yihiin dad followers oo yihiin halka markii 1 minute oo qof kala soo galana thousands viewers u hela maxay tahay sirtaas aan rabaa inaan ogaado.
And dadka adduunka oo dhan waxay jecel yihiin bad news. because hadduu qof noloshiisa isaga ka adkeen oo isnacab yahay wuxuu jecel yahay dadka kale xumaantooda inuu daawado adoo qof tahay oo hormartay oo wax samaysatay ma u fadhiisan lahayd 4 saacadood naaqay qalinaysa ma u fadhiisan lahayd nin caaya wadankaaga dadkii shaqo la'aan baa haysa so markay shaqo la'aan ku hayso dad badan oo negative ka daawanaysa bar haddaad tahay qof adiga noloshaada ka shaqeynaya wax khayr wada saa u dadaalaysid wax baranaysa waxa raadinaysaa adigoo dadka kale ah sax maaha so media liisaasay noqotay aniga dad badan baa igu oran jiray maxaa news ka hadli weeday maxaa waxaas sheegi weeday views kaaga badanaya YouTube-ka waxa wadanka ka dhacwa ka sheekeen kartaa waxaan isiri aniga interest kuma ihi the amount dadka badan oo soo galay YouTube-kayga kuma ihi inaan helo 10 milyan qof ila socda waxaan rabaa haddaan helo 10,000 qof oo diyaar u ah inay wax qabtaan 10 milyan way ka badan yihiin haddaan helo 100 qof haddaan helo oo yiraahdo hodanay waxaan aragnay meel baa tagtay dad gaajoonayaan abaartii annagana waxaan isku daynay inaan wax sameyno intaasa ka muhiima so don't get discouraged uma baahni dad badan waxa u baahan tahay dad ready ah
thank you وسؤال واحد شامل من الجواب تري وحسينا وريها وين عند ساق عطوش
yeah so the world by the way Atosh has the most followers on Facebook so
hodan moderatorka xarunta cusub ee HIIGSI waa kaaga mahadcelinaya asxaabta furtay intuu dambeysaan kaaga qabanaya dhibaatooyin fara badan oo dadka caanka ah ka haysta social media oo dabcan adiga laftirkaaga inaad aragtay laga yaabaa jira waxaan aad u jeclaystay kelmadii aad hadalkaaga dib usoo gabagabaysay ee ahaa 10,000 qof oo nadiif oo akhlaaq leh yaa ka fiican 100,000 ku caydaysan aad baan kaaga mahadcelinayaa waa fikrad runtii ama mabaadi ay ku fiican tahay inaad samayso inta badanna dad fara badanaa jira laakiin in badanoo wanaagsan jirta su-aasha aan rabaa inaan ku weydiiyo marka waxaweyaan
adiga kuwa wanaagsan baa ka mid tahay
aad wanaagsantahay su-aasha aan rabaa inaan ku weydiiyo waxaweyaan hodan waxaan ku aaminay gabadha ingiriisi aad uga hadasha Canada joogta laascanooda aad u xasuustaa hadaafka kaadaysay guud baa kaaga dayan doonaa annaga waxaan ku barbaarnay bay-ad dhibaatada jecel siduu Yuusuf Xasan sheegay قرح بلايو داعون الشباب ميوكتي ميدو كوني وحاقلي وحيوها سنقو بربارني هذا دونكو بدون مودرن جورناليزم وحيدو inspiring in اليرادة صلاة وصوقاتو ربط برودو بدو بيسد أحيانا مكشكا دعو صور ما موجيو فإذا نواعك اليرادة ما تقاها عاد عيصور كنا ما موجيين ينعك لو حكيتو سيحيب ترليلو وحيوها دونو حيدنا مركا اسكودا إذا هناك دادك كبرا سبتال كلاس عانودا مثال في عنا وسؤال شعر لهم كوي دي حويان مو برايفت هو مركا أكو حاطة إلى أوله هو الله توما يسمع سعمالة قولته لكن do I know beyond that ما قالنا يا ما تبصوك أي شيء قفيت هاي حاجة الله كبرتهاي هو يوم ما تهاي سي مكان مقيم يا مكان
سؤال
حقان كبلاوة oh my god حقان لقى بلاوة I don't know okay so جامعة وان كسو بحي الحمد لله بري هوري مش شيء تاريخ إذا انتاز but وحن برتي communication studies and then وحن كشغين شري radio advertising for 15 years long time
wow.
I have a corporate background I do a lot of marketing بس منشري then I went back to school مركان عروض دلي بان ear time قاتي كز عروض هوي وباهين جورجا إنير لتشوكتا صح معها yeah so then جامعة نكون نقضي وحن برتي TV جسان كسو broadcast journalism markaan dhameeyena YouTube kan bilaabay waxaan ahay hooyo 2 caruur baan haystaa 2 wiil 2 future leaders baan korinayaa insha Allah and wallahi aniga waxaan iska hay qof bugaagtan jecelahay inaan akhristo inta badan waxaan dhageystaa podcast badan interest waxaan ku ahay noloshayda sidaan u horumariyo waxaan ka wadaa maaha lacag iyo waxaas waxaan ka wadaa xaqa diinta the other side because meeshan waa laga tegayaa wax badan baan jecelahay berigii hore inaan wareysi dad badan ka qaado markaa diinta iyo wax badan fahamtid noloshaada dhan baa isbedelaya so hadda dreamkayga wuxuu yahay maahaba inaan caan noqdo oo lacag sameeyo waxaa rabaa maxaa ka tegaysaa markaa dhimatid maxaa kugu dadka ku xusuusanayaan and insha Allah hadday dadka ugu xusuustaan waxaan ahaa qof dadka Soomaaliyeed iska jecel inay walaalo noqdaan inay noqdaan dad maanta fahmi kara wadankeeni haddii anaga waxba ka tarin yaa waxna taraya hadda 2 wiil baan korinayaa af Soomaali kuma hadlaan anigiiba haddii mar dhaweyd baan af Soomaali si fiican sii baranayaa haddaba maxaa soo socda next generation ka kale maxay dadkeeni ku dambeyn doonaan intaasaan isweydiiyaa so insha Allah YouTube ka marka Google la geliyo Soomaaliya Somali people haddii wax wanaag soo baxaan inta igu xusuusta intaas oranaya
وحسينا يا عمر احنا السعيد كتب يقول اساس يا بايو احنا سعيد وبدي على ريت كترسن او دي بس كتب يقول بايو
اوكي
والسلام يا الكرام شغل جراهان الان جيران يكون دي runtii waxaan jeclaan lahaa su-aashayda inay hodan sii dhexmariyo laakiin xildhibaanka ay u tagto xildhibaanku aad ugu mahadsan yahay anu jaamacada halkan aan u baxay Nairobi wadooyin qurux badan iyo laamiyaal waa noo dhisay laakiin mar walba waxaan la yaabaa markaan Nairobi wadooyinkii naloo dhisay oo qashin meerana dhalinyarada markaan kala hadlana waxay dhahaan war niyahow annaga haddaan is-abaabuli lahayn oo qashinka iska guri lahayn maba naloo ogolo qoladan jool lahayd jirtoo na xirxiraysa dowladda hoose marka waxaan dhihi lahaa sidee dhalinyarada miidiyaha ku jirta uga qayb qaadan karaan campaign arrintaas ku aadan oo magaalada quruxda badneed oo naloo sameeyey laamiyadii runta way jajabayaan laamiyadii kulli waa la dhisay of course jaamacadda markaan dhisay aan dhiganayay wadadan karyako iyo toiletka isku xirta markaasaan actually la dhamaynayay oo ma dhisnayn ka hor laakiin waddada hadda maanta hadaa marto dhowr meelo kamid a way jajabanta oo meelihii biyaha ay marayeen kulli way baaba'santahay marka miyaan annagu xaafadda lahayn raggiinaan miidiyaha ku jiraan miidiya kuma jireen xaafadda waxba kuma lihin miyaa waa iska joognaa miyaa qolalkaan afar u seexanaa laakiin banaanka markaan usoo baxno qashinkaan ku tuurnaa waxaan jeclaan lahaa arrintaas campaign in laga sameeyo roolkay dhalinyarada iyo gabdhaha ka ciyaari karaan inay noo sheegto walaashan ilaankana aada u mahadsan of course laakiin uma badni inay joogtaan
change starts with you.
Of course I am ready waa mahadsantahay laakiin uma badni Nairobi joogisteeda marmaran imaadaa oo xamaran u badanay marka laakiin waan isku dayaaya cabsidii jirtay hadday meesha ka baxdo baan ka ahaan doonaa insha Allah thank you
inaan dadku u sheego in qof walba oo wanaag uu sameeyey inay u baahan tahay qofka wanaagga sameeyey in lagu daydo wax badan aan kaaga dayanaynaa baa dumarka maana waan ku faanaynaa hodan ilaaha ku daari sidoo kale waxaan rabaa inaan markaa wax ku darsado maadaama meediyaha ka tirsanayo wiilkaas barnaamijka oo ka hadlay oo qashinka oo aan naftirkii caloosheeda ka buuxiisay oo aan isdhahaa ma hadashaa iska daysaa balse uu ii suurtageliyay inuu markaasi halkaa ka bilaabo laakiin barnaamijkan oo ku saabsan nadaafadda waa mid maadaama xildhibaanku naga jooga aan ka faa'iidaysanayo saameyn weyn ku yeeshay dadka halkan ku nool oo wiilka uu ka dhawaajiyay arrintaas haddii la yidhaahdo dadka nadaafadda mar aan isku dayay dhalinyarada inaan wax ka weydiiyo inay ka sameyn karaan dadka xataa in boorar loo sameeyo si wasaqda aan loogu tuurin maadaama magaalooyinka qaar Nairobi ay nadiif yihiin balse isla iyada ay wasaq u muuqato laakiin ay u muuqato mid markaa iyadu aan ka gaabsaday laakiin hadda haddii la bilaabay anigoo caasho cagan aan diyaar u ahay oo lolo ku saabsan arrimahaas in lagu daro xataa haddii ay jirto si mutawaaxima xataa ku shaqeynayaa waayo waxaa aad iiga damqiyey in oo 30 sano ku qiyaasa 20 biyaa ku weysaysanaya wadada dhexdeeda arrimahaas ayaa u badan waxyaabaha ugu daran waxaa kamid ah baabuurta basaska ay halkan ka buuxa tagaasida lagu dhaqaa isli waxyaabaha wadooyinka haleeyan eegaa kamid ah in eegana wax laga qabto haddii wax laga qaban karo arrintaas intaasaan uga baxaya sidoo kale waxaan rabaa inaan aada ugu mahadceliyo hodan waan ku taageersana waxaan ku leeyahay guuleyso waan ku faraxsanaha anigoo shaqo lahaa oo dana shaqo kale usii socday inaan kulankaada imaado oo aan markaasi ku arko farxadeyda ugu weyneedayd waan sii xiriiri doonaa barnaamijkayga haweenkaana martiqaadka ugu sameeya haddaad iga ogolaanayso inaan kuga casimo barnaamijka idaacadda star f m ee arrimaha haweenka iyo horumarka maadaama haweenka aada horseed u tahay aad baan ku salaamay
Thank you for coming here. I want to ask you a question regarding media. What measures can need to be taken as in the media to convey enough message to the community out there, especially in Somalia? I don't think the media are taking parts of it as in conveying the real message that the Somali communities are supposed to know regarding Somalia and everything that's concerning. Thank you.
What measures? That's exactly what we're talking about today. Is the measures is using digital platforms so that we can have more young people sharing their narrative. You know, obviously the media is not going to give you what you're looking for, so we have to find people in the community to do that, inshallah. How about you? Why don't you start with yourself? Yeah?
Question and answers with Hodan Naleeye, and I appreciate all the team together with HIIGSI for this wonderful session. And Hodan, I say you're doing a great work. I'm actually one of your followers in Twitter, and my question actually is posed to the current trends or emerging trends in social media. Of course, we know a lot of advantage currently we have social media in terms of changing the community. Like we have the e-commerce, we have communication, everything. But one thing I'm saying is we have new trends of social media that are nowadays coming, like scams, impersonation. So how can those ones be prevented? And do we have an existing anti-impersonation policies in the world? Over. Thank you.
Is the biggest revolution in social media for our community because that means young people now are ready for actual dialogue and engagement. You know, I see some people actually now questioning, you know, when someone, let's say one of the funders in Somalia posts something about the country, and when I see young educated Somalis actually questioning this person, and I'm not talking about people who live outside the country. For a long time, the internet belonged to the Somali diaspora, but that is changing. The internet now belongs to the young people who are actually living inside Somalia, inside the Horn of Africa, because now they are questioning the people who are doing work in their countries. And how powerful is that? You know, when I see somebody, Michael Keating, like, what are you doing? Before it was different when the diaspora did it, but now it's young people who actually have a stake. So I would say to you, the trend is more dialogue, more engagement. We need more educated young people who learned certain fields to actually question the things, the programs, the stuff that happens in their country. And I think it's happening. I mean, look at the questions that you guys are having for your MP here. So give yourselves a hand of applause. Twitter, if you don't know how to use it, I urge you. Last summer, I did a seminar in Mogadishu to about 500 young Somalis on how to use Twitter. Do you know within 2 months, 20,000 young people?
Koro noogu qad.
I'm the executive director of Women Empowerment. Excuse me. I'm the executive director and the founder of Women Initiative for Self-Empowerment. Initiative for Self-Empowerment. Hello, and Wise for our registered NGO support, empower youth and women towards achievement of sustainable development. I registered twice because seven capital on the state, helped me and my having and school the other. With the help of director of NGO board director, I said I want to make in because certificates get one day. You can all like so many organizations, 3, 4 years today. I can't even contested certificates. I got my certificates just in a day because I think most of you want to actually need to implement the support Somali waxay ku dumineen how you tell them how to I'm sorry, man. Okay, my question is, my question is, there's a lot of negativity within Somalis. So many how can I go about that? I have an NGO. It's registered. It's not a big decision. I think I'm not the TV
I like your question. I think it's a good question to end off with because what she's asking, I hope you guys all listen to this question. If you decide to do anything in this world, you're going to have haters. So if you're not ready to be talked about, you're not ready for success. Nobody talks about qof waxba sameynin. Do you talk about losers? Exactly. People talk about winners. So if you're doing something, get ready for people to talk about you, to put you down. While I got, mind the way qof by so he's a very prominent journalist actually, and he said, now we consider you as part of the elite because you survived 5 years of doing this work. So I said to him, so if I would have failed, it would have not been the same kind of journey, because that's what people want you to do. They want to see you overcome your challenges. If you start an organization and you think you're not going to have haters, you're in the wrong business. Because guess what? Even 5-year-olds have haters at school. Okay? So get over it. If you have a mission to do, don't stop for anyone and keep going. Because millions of Somalis are counting on us.
Hey there, everybody. It's not really a question, it's also a round statement. I've been back in Nairobi for the past 2 weeks in order to finish a book I've been writing the past 3 years. I was actually raised in Italy until I was 7, and I'm coming back now in my mid-20s. My book is actually a case study about myself. Anybody that would like to be part of it, you're more than welcome. I'll be here for the next hour to just chat to everybody. Also, I just wanted to say it's amazing to have come, and be part of this. It's honestly overwhelming to come back home and see that people actually do want to make a change. But what we do need to start honestly doing as a whole nation is you know, instead of being part of the solution, asking and thinking, right, you know, what needs to be done? Be part of it. Encourage yourself. Encourage each one of us. Each one teach one.
Each one teach one. I love that. Each one teach one. And don't keep your journey to yourself. There's always, when you walk in a room, there's always a few people who are smarter than you, and there's a few people who can learn from you. So cater to both crowds.
برنامج كمل بواي دمانتي دم قارئ إلا توقعتان الله إنتو قارئ قارئ وحارة إلى كسوق الجويو قراية إياك نصعد حلوانك إنتي سجاري وممثل قارئ أنت عارف الله هذا الشيء حاجة أتصل إلا توقعتان تمام قراية إنه سوكو على الله 1 second يوسف حسن.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وحمد الميكروفون بسهولة وكما سنتهي. وعي وفارح محمد حيراني أصحابنا وعي يعني فارح لماي. والسلام يا الديوانكا يا سعيد عطوشك على فيديو iyo Hodan oo wax badan daawanay waxaan wadankii mashaqada xilligan marka ku faraxsanahay inaan dadkii in badan shaashada ka daawanay su'aashaydu waxay tahay waxa jiro dabcan social media anigu saxaafadda waan bartay 2013 laakiin kuma nashaqay muqdisho dabcan ka bartay su'aashaydu waxay tahay social media iyo aaladaha dabcan hadda umalaysid inay goboli waayaan muuqaal aragii dabcan guryaha noo yeelay ama tviyadii soomaalida Hodan 10 sano kadib ama 5 sano kadib laga yaabaa in tviyada guryaha noo yaal يعني displacement ku dhacdo يعني xogta aad u fara badan social media especially Facebook soo dhiga inay waddanka sare bayso taasoo su'aal waxaan rabaa inaan kala ahaan soo jeediyo integration TV Somaliland dabcan daawataad oo fara badan Somaliland daawataad fara badan bada waxaan talaan soo jeedinahay anigu aan tagay ilaa iyo Boosaaso Muqdisho Jowhar Beledweyne Cadaado Burceel Muusamareeb Galbeed Galka sida Boosaaso intaas markuu cadeynay deegaanka Beere marka aan ugu soo jeeday talahaan Soomaalidu aad u fara badan tahay dhaqameed aad u kala duwan yihiin kajarka dabcan ama lahjadaad u kala marka aan ku soo geeyay sida qayb Soomaalidu ku daawato ay yani si bartaan TV-ga aad u maasan tahay assalaamu calaykum.
Hi, Hodan. Hi. Welcome back to me. I have a question. My question is very short. I follow you on social media, Twitter, and you share a lot of motivational.
Do I follow you back? Yes. I follow back a lot of my people.
Not yet. My question is, you share a lot of motivational content and positive vibes. What's the best advice you've ever received as Hodan? That's my question. Thanks.
The best advice I received. Wow. Yeah, nice. Good.
That's true. No, the best advice was dahda hiro, okay? No, the best advice I ever received was actually from my mentor. And it's funny, it wasn't actually until, you know, okay, I have to be very honest with you guys. You know, as Somalis, we are constantly, you know, we don't tell people the impact of what they do, but we're good at putting down the impact of what they do. And it wasn't until, I have many clients that I do different types of work for in marketing, and it was one client that we did an event for in Minneapolis. And as long as I've been doing events for Somalis, as long as I've been producing content, showing you guys the highlights of where I go, and showing, you know, Somali businesses how to understand how do you take your product to the next level by partnering with people who are already doing the work, you know? And it was one client, it was Nin Adam Buaha. Wallahi, I'm not kidding. After I finished the event and we edited the video, we posted everything online, we completed the work within 2 days. And wallahi, when he called me and said, you know, I want to thank you for your professionalism and how hard you're working. And that day made me realize I had never heard that from one Somali client. And so that taught me is that sometimes as a community, we expect so much, but we never put in. So we need to start putting into people. We need to start learning how to benefit mutually. It's not about me, Hodan Naleeye, horeeysa. It's about we. It's about how do we elevate each other. Because when we are all eating, guess what? We can feed more people. Would you agree? So next time you have a service done by a Somali person, I want you to see the good in their service. I want you to see that, inshallah. I think that's a good way to end our session. Yeah.
Expect to be asked back again, but in my final remark, I think we will all agree that this has been a remarkable experience and a remarkable performance from our sister Hodan. It was a master class. I've never attended any event of this kind in this neighborhood before. So we have learned so much. We have exchanged so much. The interactiveness of this particular session has been incredible. People have expressed themselves. You have been responding very well from quite your personal experience from your heart. And we're really grateful, and it has been a wonderful experience to have you, and I hope you will come back again. HIIGSI.
Yes, let's empower these young men.
Thank you so much, HIIGSI, for letting us. You have really started a wonderful thing here in our neighborhood. I encourage you to continue. I encourage you to bring more teams, to bring more young people together, and to give this neighborhood and the Somali community a voice in institutions of research, innovation, and development. We haven't had any institution that we can call our own that has come here, so welcome. And let me assure you of my support, and in every way that I can, in every way that I may be able to do. So welcome as well, and well done.